This is going to be a very brief trading blog video, my very first one. I wanted to include my face in this as well, just so that there's a face to, all of this stuff that's been going on that I've been posting, and for you to get an idea as to what AdiFx is really all about. So I just made this little document here, just very brief, not too much in it, and I'm going to go through each individual point, talking about the journey so far, talking about where it first started from, why I got into this industry in the first place, and how has the journey been, and how has it had quite a profound impact on myself, on people around me, on my relationships with my family, and how it's really changed my mindset to a lot of different things, in many different ways and shapes and forms, whether that be financial, psychological, emotional even. And it's really, really helped me develop a lot of key qualities which I feel will benefit me significantly, uh, for the rest of my life, inshallah. So, just talking about the journey so far. So, I first started trading, I believe it was 2.5 years ago, 2 years ago. I can't remember exactly what year it was. I'm so bad with times and dates that I struggle to remember people's birthdays, even my own nephews and nieces. So I don't know exactly when it was 2 years ago or if it was 2.5 years ago. I just know it was in the ballpark of around 2 years. And my cousin actually introduced the idea to me of trading. I'd seen things on Instagram, people talking about it, people showing results and all this money being promoted that, they've earned in this day, but I'd never really given it much interest. And he introduced the idea to me, and I thought it was quite cool. I thought it was quite trendy. It was something new, and it was something that he promised me that I wouldn't have to do anything towards for me to make money from it. So I was like, okay, free money, no worries. I'm interested. I then started to get into it, and I didn't really know what I was doing, to be honest with you. I was proper clueless, and I actually deposited a fair bit of money into a trading account, and because I didn't know what I was doing, I ended up blowing my account, meaning that I'd lost all my money in that account. So it wasn't a very good start for me, especially in something that is, you know, completely new. It's a new industry. Um, you could argue it's a new adventure, so you don't like to obviously lose money, and that was the first thing that I did. So that wasn't a good start. And then after I had gotten myself into it, I thought to myself, you know what? I had this idea in my head that I've lost all this money towards this. I want to try and make it back. And that's when I started to learn more and more about trading through YouTube. Now, YouTube is good and it's bad because you learn a lot of rubbish from it and you see a lot of good stuff on it as well. So I'd started learning from YouTube. Over the course of those 2 years, I took quite a number of different types of courses from a number of different types of people, whether it be from YouTube, whether they be through social media, whether it be um, free content, paid content. I'd spent a lot of money on courses, and after after learning and learning and learning and having spent countless hours trying to find something that would work and trying to understand something that would generate money, a strategy that would work, it's taken me that much time after 2.5 years, 2 years of constantly trying and motivating myself to keep going. It's only now that I've gotten to a point where I can say that I'm a profitable trader. It's taken a long time. A lot of people give up. In fact, you can even argue that the people that 90% of people lose 90% of their money within 90 days. and I believe the percentage of people that stay within this industry after 6 months of being in it is less than half. It's a very brutal, very, very difficult industry to be a part of. It is one of the most challenging things I've ever done in my entire life. I've got a university degree. I've worked 2 jobs before. I've been in and around lots of kids. I've been through emotional, financial problems. I've been through a whole lot of difficult, and testing periods in my life, and I can say in complete confidence that this trading journey itself by far has been the most difficult and challenging task that I have ever set myself. The number of times that I've wanted to give up on this has been countless. Um, I have wanted to I've wanted to give up so many times that it had gotten to a point where I felt I was genuinely depressed by how much this market was screwing with me. And it's only at this point now, having been invested so heavily into this for such a long period of time, that I can say that I've finally figured out how to crack the code. Anyways, so that's the intro. In terms of this industry itself, why is it such a lucrative market? Forex simply means foreign exchange. Foreign exchange being the exchange or the trading or passing one currency, for example, in exchange for another currency. The same way, if you've ever been on holiday, you exchange your pounds or dollars or euros, whatever it is, wherever it is you're from, you exchange that for the native currency of that country that you're going to, and they normally have an exchange rate. So for every pound, you will get $1.5, or for every dollar, you'll get 1.2 euros, for example. This whole industry is that, basically. It is, simply put, the exchange of one currency to another currency. And because this happens on such a multinational level, it has a very, very large sum of money inside it. Countries themselves trade, banks that are inside the countries trade between other banks. Institutions from those countries trade with another as well. So you can only imagine how much money is actually flowing through these markets themselves. The number, I don't have the exact number, but is multi-trillion dollars. It's absolutely huge. It makes the stock market look like a pile of shit. It's so big. The stock market pales in comparison to the foreign exchange markets for that reason alone, because it's so multinational. It literally involves every single country in the entire world, and everybody uses it. So that's one of the reasons why it's such a lucrative market. Another reason being it runs 24/7. Depending on where it is you live, in the UK, which is where I'm from, it runs from Sunday night at around 10 o'clock in the evening, and it runs till around 10 o'clock on Friday night. So there's only a space of around 36 hours or so where the markets are actually officially closed and you can't make any trades. That's in the UK. But what I mean by 24/7, if you were to travel from Japan to Europe to the UK, and if you were to do that throughout the entire week, you would be able to trade every single day without fail. So that's what I mean by it being a 24/7 industry. It can be done at your own pleasure. Not only do institutions and big banks use this as a way of making money, people such as ourselves who are retail traders, are also capable of making trades. We can also profit from this or lose to this. And it can be done at your own pleasure, meaning that you can do it whenever you want. You are your own boss is my next point, meaning you're self-employed when you do this, just like with any other self-employed job. You decide when you want to work, when you don't want to work, and that is one very big benefit to doing this. And it can be done anywhere in the world with an internet connection. You can be trading if you're in the UK. You can trade if you're in the US, if you're in Dubai, if you're in China, if you're in the Arctic Pole. It doesn't matter. As long as you've got an internet connection, you've got Wi-Fi, you've got data on your phone, you can do it. And that's what makes it so easy and such it makes it such an easy industry to be a part of, and it makes it so accessible for each and every person. Now, if you think about all these pros, right? If you just think about these pros, now, when you compare this to many, many other jobs out there, whether it be professional or whether it be self-employed, manual labor, or whether that be through any form of job, it does not matter. How many of those jobs can make you a lot of money, and the performance of how much you make is dependent upon you. How many of those are there out there like that? How many of them run for almost 7 days a week? How many of those also can be done at your own pleasure? How many of those allow you to be self-employed? And how many of those allow you to do it at any point, anywhere in the world? There's very, very few jobs that I know of personally. Maybe you can let me know. But I don't know of any other jobs that do that. And that's another key thing. When you add all of these things together, it makes it very, very, very lucrative. Carrying on. So, what did it take to get here? So, I had to investigate a lot when I first started off doing Forex. I had to look at where I was getting my knowledge from. And this is the key thing. You need to know the knowledge that you're getting is sound, it's legit, it's not something that works sometimes and only works in other times. And the knowledge that you need to have has to be something that consistently works. And even if it doesn't consistently work, you need to know how to manage your trading. And these are certain things that a lot of courses will talk about. A lot of people will discuss these things. Our strategy works 90% of the time. Whatever it may be, whether it be a retail strategy, whether it be smart money, whether it be, support and resistance, it doesn't matter. You have to investigate and really identify which strategies work really well in your own trading. You might be a trader that might not be suited to trading every day. You might be somebody that's better at trading longer time frames. So you might be better at trading maybe once a month, once a week. And therefore, if you're that type of trader, you need to know what strategies work in that case then, and what strategies work better in those scenarios. So these are the things that I had to go through. I had to think about all of the things that the type of trader that I want to be, what kind of trading do I want to be a part of, where how much am I willing to lose in exchange for how much I'm willing to gain, my risk to reward. These were things that I had to look into. Other things being how simple or complex was the strategy itself. Was it too complex or was it too simple? Another aspect was how is it something that is already taught out there, or is it something that you have to dig and dig and dig to find? Most of the stuff that you find out there that's readily available is generally a lot of shite. The people that are in control of this industry, they have released a lot of tools and a lot of things for people to use, people like ourselves to use, but they've done that on purpose so that people like us we end up losing money instead of actually making it. Because when we lose money, these big people that control the markets, such as the composite operators, remember that term, composite operators and institutions and banks, they're the people that make money from people like us. So if they're going to release a set of tools or a set of techniques to the general public, then it would make sense for those tools to not work most of the time. And therefore, most of the tools that you'll find out there don't work consistently that well. I failed, and failed some more. So I cannot stress this enough, but being determined and motivated in this industry is very, very difficult, very hard. You're going to lose. You're going to lose no matter what. The best chance that you have of surviving in something like this is to fail, and fail some more. Because it's only through failing that you actually learn how to profit from something like this. You only learn through failing what things work and what things don't work. You only learn through failing whether this is for you or it's not for you. And so, if you're somebody who doesn't like to fail or does not like to learn through failure, then something like trading would not be suited towards you. Definitely not as a career anyway. And it's something that if you're not ready to make losses, then you might want to look at some other industry that is simpler, is more straightforward, runs through the typical kind of capitalist means, where you work your whole life and you only have a little to show for it. Now, in terms of the next step, so I never gave up. I had many opportunities to give up. I had a lot of people telling me to give up, but I never did it. I never stopped. I may have taken a few breaks to refresh my mind, to remotivate myself, but I never stopped believing in myself. I always continued stepping forward, taking the right steps, continuing on and trying my absolute hardest to make this work. And alhamdulillah, Allah is the greatest and only Allah is worthy of praise, but He's blessed me with the opportunity as of this to be able to be in this position where I can make these blogs, and inshallah we'll be able to take this and make this into something absolutely amazing. I prioritized a lot of my work and leisure time to try and allow me to continue learning my Forex stuff. So again, it took, as I mentioned before, it took many countless hours of trialing, backtesting, forward testing, of researching different things that may potentially work, that may potentially help me or not help me. It took me a lot of tries to try and figure out exactly what things worked and what things didn't work, and I had to prioritize my time very well for that. I also set myself regular goals. So I'd set myself 6-month goals where I wanted to be a successful and profitable trader by the end of these 6 months. I want to have mastered this strategy. I want to have made X amount of money, etc, etc, etc. Even though none of those goals at the start came true, it was those goals that kept me motivated. And when you are in an industry as such where it's made to make you lose, then setting yourself things such as goals really helps, and that's something that I would really recommend for each and every one of you, whether that be in trading or any other aspect of life. I invested a lot of money into this as well. If you don't work hard and if you don't invest into the knowledge that you need from this, you're never going to succeed in it either. I was patient, motivated, and prioritized, and recently I've changed this, but before I wasn't. But I've started to pray a lot more. I'm a Muslim. I pray to Allah. I pray to God. I believe that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is His messenger. I believe that Jesus is His messenger. And all of these religious aspects that I had previously been neglected have become a big focus for me now. And alhamdulillah, as a result of that, I feel like everything in my life has started to improve. Alhamdulillah, everything in my life has improved. If you're Muslim and if you're watching this, I would say to you that if you make your deen, your faith, come first, everything else will follow afterwards. Everything. Without God, we are nothing. And without God, He won't bless us with anything. And if you thank him for what you have, you will be blessed with more. You'll be blessed with more. So always, always thank God. Always thank him. Always be grateful. Because if you do that, he's going to bless you with more and more and more. Okay? If you're not Muslim, then you should probably think about, what it is you're actually living for. Because if you're living for just this world, then good luck with that. You're going to realize when you die, just like everybody else, that this world's only temporary and that there is something after. Once we go, there is something after for us. Mark my words. Things that I could have done differently. One of the things that I'd made a very stupid mistake on was I had invested into some fake traders who claimed that they could make you money very quickly. This is when I was first starting out, when I wanted to make back the money that I'd lost. I'd sent money and invested in a few people who claimed that they would make me back my money, but they just took it and ran off. So that was a bit of a learning experience, frustrating time for me as well. Not only had I lost money myself, I'd lost it towards somebody else as well. So that wasn't good. I'd taken my time. If I'd taken my time and not been so hard on myself, because of the way that because of the fact that this type of work involves the industries and the bigger people trying to take you out all the time, you can't be so hard on yourself to the point where you're constantly, attacking yourself for not succeeding. Because if you do that, you lose motivation, and you do something called revenge trading, which is a big, big no-no. Revenge trading and your psyche makes a big difference to how you perform. If you need to think about it from a point of view of, am I willing to risk this amount in exchange for that reward? It's about how much are you willing to lose, not how much are you willing to gain. And I feel like one thing that I did, that I was being quite harsh on myself in the aspect that I'd set myself all of these goals, but whenever I wasn't reaching these goals, I would be very critical of my own behavior, critical of my trading, my strategy, and at points I would say that I was a bit overcritical and I was being very, very harsh to the point where it was affecting me mentally. And sometimes when you're that harsh on yourself, it has quite a prominent, lasting effect. And so, be patient. Don't worry. Things like this, especially, take a lot of time. Especially if you're still kind of learning how to do it. If you're, trying to find ways to be able to do it, it takes a lot of time, and so you need to be very patient. Okay. Now, last but not least, what are my plans? What are we going to try and do with this platform going forward? So for me personally, I want to pass my FTMO verification, which is basically an accredited company which allows you to use their money to trade. Okay, and the pros to that is obviously you don't have to risk your own capital. The other pro is that you get given a larger sum of capital to work with, and therefore generating more is much easier when you have more to work with. Another thing that I want to do after that is I want to actually get my company set up, the AdiFx company. Once that's completed, then hopefully we'll get a website put up as well with a list of all of my services on there. I'm going to obviously get some lawyers and accountants involved, and then once all of that is completed, I'm going to start offering, potentially, don't quote me on this, but I might start offering account management services. Account management being, you can invest money into your own trading account, and I would link my trading account to yours, and it would replicate whatever it is I'm doing onto your account. Therefore, you're passively making money from whatever effort that I'm making. Now, with regards to that, the details of it, I'm not going to go into that just now because that's still something that I'm going to be looking into, doing it like a Kickstarter project where I'm starting off with something small, and then eventually with more and more experience keep building it up to something quite large scale. So we'll see what happens with that. By the time this is all completed, I can see myself stopping signals. I don't see myself continuing on with signals long term, just because it requires a lot of effort. And by that point, I want to try and reduce the amount that reduce the amount of effort that I'm having to put into trading, and start looking at passive investments. Now that can be things such as properties, other businesses, and many different things that can be involved in that. And inshallah, once all of those things are completed, then I'm going to get myself a new car, hopefully. So I'm going to get myself a new car. I don't know what car it's going to be. It might be something amazing, it might be something rubbish. We'll have to wait and see. But one of the other key things that I want to establish that I've not mentioned here is I want to really try and help out with ocular health problems in Pakistan. I have a project in mind which I want to be hands-on going forward with, where I'm offering glasses and testing children in Pakistan. Again, as a charitable project, which I'll be investing in funding myself, inshallah. And that's my long-term plan, is to try and move away from having to work for money and try and, inshallah, spend more time doing things that will help me when I die. I want to be in a position where I don't have to continue working long term, so that I can focus more on my ibadah. I can focus on being of service to God, so I can do the things that He's asked us all to do, to help other people, to be of service to other people, to teach other people, and so on and so forth. Inshallah, that is the whole premise for AdiFx for me, is to be able to use this as a means for me to be able to be of service to God, inshallah. That's my intention. We'll see what happens, whether it succeeds or not. I have my full faith that God will make it happen. And I know it comes across as if I'm a very religious person. I'm not the most religious person, but I have belief. And that's, for me, the most important, is I really truly believe in God. I know that He's the one that's in control of everything. I know I've seen and experienced enough of life to realize that any effort that we make towards anything, whether it be for work or education, unless He wills it, only then that thing will become a reality. So that's pretty much everything from the AdiFx trading blog journey so far. I usually write a long post explaining a lot of things and talking about things, but I wanted to change it up this time and give you a little update through something that I can show you my face through as well. Now, I do apologise about the quality of this webcam, by the way. I'm using a MacBook Pro, and MacBook Pros have the worst webcams, so that's something that I'll probably invest into as soon as things start getting real, is get a really good webcam. But if you have any, if you have any feedback, if you have any questions about anything, you can send me a message. The blog's there for you to be able to follow things. And if you have any questions about the signals, or anything else for that matter, you can send me either a private message, or you can jump through the link to the signals discussion group, where there's other people there as well. You can ask questions through that means if you would like. Take care, guys. Have a nice night.